Hi, I'm Jim. And I'm Jeff. Thanks for listening to the Stanching Tyranny Hour. Pour yourself a cup of coffee and pull up a chair while we start the march toward liberty. That doesn't make sense. How does one march while in a chair? Good question. You can figure it out. You're the engineer. Well, stay tuned and we'll let you know on 1450 AM WPG.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Wacko Bird Radio.
Yeah, new name.
Yeah, hey, we should change it from Stanching
right.
Tyranny to Wacko Bird Radio. What do you think?
Well, we'll just leave it. But I can call you Wacko Bird, and you can call me Wacko Bird.
That's true. That's true. Wacko Bird number 1 and number 2.
Right. I guess if the name fits, right?
Yeah, that's right. So welcome. We're glad you can join us. Boy, we got a lot to go over this morning. A lot of talk about Rand Paul's filibuster, and we're going to give our thoughts on it, and also how it delves into our own personal responsibility as an Americans, and I guess that's where we're
nation as a whole.
Yeah. And I came across this video on RT Russia Today. Asking the question about abuses in welfare, and what some common man on the street thoughts were. Before we
hit that, I just want to play a couple of things that are appropriate. The Rand Paul filibuster was a good thing, and that it's a movement in the direction of liberty, right? I mean, that's what it was about. To wake people up to say, our rights are being taken and we can't stand for it. We're going to lose our freedoms.
Right.
But the question comes up from our founding fathers. Can we handle it? Can we handle liberty? Benjamin Franklin said, only a virtuous people are capable of freedom. As nations become corrupt and vicious, they have more need of masters. Don't we have a lot of masters?
We sure do. We sure do have a lot of masters.
Doesn't it seem like we constantly need more and more?
Yeah.
So is that a sign of what Benjamin Franklin was talking about?
It could be. There's an old saying is that people get the government they deserve.
Right, exactly. John Adams said, we have no government armed with power capable of contending with human passions unbridled by morality and religion. Our Constitution was made only for a moral and religious people. It is wholly inadequate for the government of any other.
Yeah.
So, we have to be careful what we wish for.
We do. And you can see it throughout society.
Yeah.
And this video is a great example of
that.
So
let's play this clip here, Scott.
According to the U.S. government, more than 47 million people now use the food stamp program. Are Americans abusing the system? This week, let's talk about that.
One of the largest consumers of food stamps is actually Walmart, because they underpay their employees. So if we're concerned about people getting food stamps, we should probably look in the direction of companies like Walmart, et cetera, who refuse to pay a living wage.
So it's not the consumers' fault who are on the food stamps, it's the corporations who are not providing the benefits they need?
I think that's a large part of it.
Well, statistically, I don't know, but sounds like
stop there, Scott.
Yeah. So immediately the deflection. See, that's not the question.
Yeah.
So basically, what he's saying is, people should be allowed to be immoral and do the wrong thing,
but it's not their fault.
Right. Yeah. And this whole living wage thing, what does that even mean? Living wage.
Yeah.
Right?
And whose responsibility is it?
Yeah.
That's the real question.
So does a living wage mean a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house in the suburbs?
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
I mean, what does this even mean?
Yeah, it's subjective.
Yeah.
Let's go to the next clip there, Scott, along those lines.
So is it just this attitude of go get yours at the expense of whomever at any cost?
Why not? Look at the government now. They in the other countries now taking over the resources.
So it doesn't bother you that the numbers are increasing?
No, it just shows you that there are more poor people. That's what it shows you, that poverty is increasing in this country amidst all this wealth.
And do you think it's the government's responsibility to take up that slack?
Absolutely.
Well, I think it's definitely a social situation, so I think that we as taxpayers have to realize that people do need help, and we need to, as a country, support our own people. Where we're putting all this money overseas, it needs to be more here. You know, with the sequesters that are coming and all that kind of stuff, it's where the money's going just doesn't make sense. So our politicians need to get in order.
I feel like it's good to be American because you can depend on the government. So, I mean, I guess society is kind of, you know, hinting at that, but that's okay.
But isn't the American way to make it on your own and not depend on the government or others for your success?
True, but it's a case-by-case basis.
Either way, it's good to be American.
Of course.
Because we're number one.
Number one.
Whether or not you think people are abusing the food stamp system, the bottom line is if you're American, you're buying groceries for a lot more people than just your family.
All right. Thank you, Scott.
Yeah, so there you have it. I mean, listen to the answers of these people.
Yeah.
Right?
Troubling.
Yeah, it is troubling.
It's all done to justify the root question. It was, why do Americans abuse food stamps? And basically the answer was, well, because everybody else is doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
and
good.
The government does it, so why shouldn't I get my share and all that? And it's a shame because that rationality is pervasive throughout society.
Yeah.
And look at things like here in New Jersey, things like unemployment benefits.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I pay into it. Oh, well, you know, I can use that to take a 6-month vacation. Oh, why should I look for a job when I make actually more money just by receiving this benefit or that benefit?
And even if you don't make more money, you can adapt your lifestyle.
Sure.
If you're getting money for free, you can adapt your lifestyle to survive on that amount of money.
Right. So
because it's easier.
Yeah. A better question to that guy at the end, actually a few of the people in that interview, would have been, you know, do you believe that the fruits of your labor should be taken from you by force and given to someone else?
Well, the last fellow there, apparently the answer is yes.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah, and
now,
he was a young guy.
He was.
That's scary. He wasn't
I mean, don't these people realize when they do that, they're literally handing government power on a silver platter.
You're selling your soul.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to give something up. It's a trade. It doesn't just happen because government is generous. Government is not generous.
No, and money is the root of all evil. We see it not only this is a man on the street interview, but think about it.
Innocent man on the street interview.
But think about how many times do our local towns, our counties, our states sell us down the river for money?
Yeah,
they give up our rights on a silver platter.
Right.
For federal grants and loans and low interest loans, subsidies and all this stuff. We saw it right there in the Chris Christie budget address.
We saw it in the aftermath of the hurricane.
Yeah,
and we continue to see.
And why do we give these politicians power to do that with our rights?
That's what it is. It's power. You know, we don't, for the most part, we don't realize what's happening to us because it happens slowly. The initial answer from one of the people on the street there was. Talked about the living wage, and you know, that's Walmart's responsibility.
Right.
And if you look at the history of the minimum wage and what it's done to this country, it's actually scary.
Yeah.
You know, the minimum wage basically blocks out a lot of people who don't have an education, a decent education, and don't have skills.
Yeah,
it prevents them from being employed.
It hurts people who could benefit by low wage jobs. People like the developmentally disabled. Maybe their education is lacking.
Right.
We
can't hire somebody that walks through our door. Maybe he lives on the Black Horse Pike nearby our business, and lives with his parents or something, and he's got some sort of mental disability. We can't hire that guy to come and clean our office.
Yeah.
Just for some money.
No.
We're not allowed to do that.
Yeah, because if you did, let's say you paid them minimum wage and you did.
Yeah.
And then things got tight.
Right.
and you had to let him go. He's the first one to go, number one. Number two, how fast do you think you'd end up in some sort of lawsuit?
Right, right.
Therefore, saying that he was let go because he has this ability.
Well, the other thing that you got to look at with regard to that, if the premise is that the minimum wage prevents a large class of people from being employed, does that then force them to sell their souls in exchange for some sort of government handout?
Yeah,
I think the answer is yes.
It is yes.
If you look at the history, furthermore, of Planned Parenthood and what really is the eugenics movement, and the fact that a lot of these abortion clinics are located in
urban areas,
poor urban areas, there's a connection there.
There is absolutely.
These people can't get jobs because of the minimum wage, keeps them from getting jobs. They don't have the skills to afford them a job that pays as much as the minimum wage is. And then they get in trouble, crime rises, and they get government handouts. And a lot of times these government handouts have strings attached that happen to coincide with Planned Parenthood.
Right.
And it's really interesting.
It is. If you look into the history, people, it is unbelievable the evil that groups like Planned Parenthood, and dare I say, even our own government have done in an effort. In the guise doing good things for poor people. Right.
That they want us to believe that our government is doing good. And like the fellow on the street there said in the interview, we spend all this money to help people. Right? That's what the government should do, right? Well, no, actually it's not what the government should do.
Right.
That's what charities are for. But we've been conditioned to believe that our government is charitable. And when you really dig down and look at what happens with our aid, we are the most philanthropic country in the world, right? And it's our money because it's our government's money. But when you look at what they're really doing,
the strings,
I mean, we offer aid to countries where disasters hit or war or whatever.
Like Haiti, let's say.
Yeah, like Haiti. Do you know what the first thing they do when they start shipping aid to those places is? You know what the first item they ship is?
What?
Birth control. Birth control pills and condoms and all that stuff. That's what they ship. Not food, not water. Birth control.
Wow.
It's a fact. It's a fact. You can look it up.
Yeah.
And so it's just awful because you can see what the agenda really is.
Yeah.
And it's one that reminds me of Nazism, to be honest.
Well, and
I hate to say it. I hate to sound like a wacko bird.
Yeah.
But when you look at all this stuff and you piece it together, that's sure what it looks like.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing we have to be careful of, because really a lot of these things you're not going to learn it in school. You're not going to learn it from a public school. Why? Well, because it's all the same thing.
Right.
They accept money from the government, strings attached.
And the strings are, you teach what we want you to teach.
Yeah, of course.
Not the truth.
Right.
Let's take a phone call. Carl's up bright and early. Good morning, Carl.
Morning, Carl.
Good morning, Jim and Jeff. I prefer to call it an entry-level wage.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And so you go and you apply at a place, and they want to know what you can do for their company. And they may not. They may start you at a higher wage because they see you have skills that benefit their company, right?
Yeah, right.
But I think that company should have that choice.
Yeah. Exactly. You're right, Carl. A company, an individual can agree to work for a lower wage, and then he can demonstrate his value, right?
Right.
But,
exactly.
But if he never gets the opportunity because the minimum wage is just too high,
Right, the company can't afford it.
That's sad. Yeah,
it is sad. And there's people, and I'm sure you know them, they started at an entry level, and they're way up high in the company.
Right.
They learn things, and they work their way up.
That's right.
And how much is that being suppressed now because of the minimum wage? I'd venture to say it's killing a lot of opportunities. And we're going to have a higher minimum wage here in New Jersey.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely. And the reason is...
And I'm against that just for the reasons I said.
Yeah, and I agree with you. But I'm sure that we can agree that we will have a higher minimum wage in New Jersey for the simple reason that they're going to put it on the ballot. And people like to vote for things that make them feel good and like they're doing something good when they don't think the cost is theirs to bear.
Yeah, well, and what party's pushing that?
Yeah, interesting, isn't it? Yeah. And it doesn't matter whether it's an R or a D.
I'm going to say it. The Democrats.
Yeah.
They're pushing it.
Oh, yeah.
But they're also the party that always wants more revenue.
Right.
Or be it, cut the loopholes, that means more revenue.
Right, and,
just for the 2% wealthy people, but it's pretty much never them.
Yeah, well, look
it goes all the way down.
Look at the mileage tax that you mentioned last week.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a great example.
Who is that going to hit, Carl? Is that going to hit the 2%?
Everybody.
Yeah.
Come on,
everybody.
And there's a perfect example, and we know for a fact that what they'll sell it by saying, it's only a penny.
It's less than a penny.
So
Carl.
that if you
come on, it's less than a penny.
Yeah. And what do we know? That penny will turn into much more over time.
Of course, because that penny won't be enough.
Right.
We're going to have to raise it.
Is it ever enough?
And the same thing with the bag law, the stupid bag grocery law, and that's another thing. When you talk about that, when I go shopping, where I go, they budgeted for them bags.
Right.
Okay. Right. The state should stay out of it. If they can get companies to make bags that'll break down sooner, that's an answer for that. But the state has no business getting involved in that, no business trying to get more revenue for the state, because that's what it's really about. They want 80% of that money or whatever it is.
Definitely.
Yeah, the free market can solve that problem too, Carl. We all know it here, but unfortunately, there's not enough people paying attention.
Well, that's what's great about your station and all radio stations. We can get the word out.
Right.
Where the newspapers, especially this one around here, they don't print anything about it.
Right.
Not a whisper about it.
That's true.
Because I think they kind of lean like Senator Whalen, because he's the one that's sponsoring that mileage bill.
Okay.
And I guess now that I said that's why I'm supporting Sheriff Ballas to be our new senator. And it's everything with that Senator Whalen. He's against E-Verify. He's against picture IDs for voting because he doesn't want to disenfranchise the voters. He's against E-Verify. I don't know why, because he wants businesses accountable for and then they won't hire illegal aliens, but he won't get the tools put in, then they have to use it, then they can hire them or make it whatever. He's against it.
Right.
But we see he gets voted in. When he gets voted in, and you talk to him and try to bring these things out, he's not for it.
Yep.
Because
we see that so much.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Because he's a Democrat, and like Democrats, they know what's best for us.
Right. Isn't that the truth?
Yeah. All right. We have another call.
He knows what's best for us. Even though we use common sense and we know what's best for us, he really knows what's best for us.
That's true.
But he's got to reach into our wallets to pay for it.
Oh, yeah. Government
That's always
knows what's best. We have another
call,
Carl. Thank you for the call.
Good talking to both of you, and you have a good weekend. It's a beautiful sunny day.
Thank you, Carl. Yeah, did you ever think the sun was going to shine earlier this week?
No,
I figured out, winter's never going to end.
Let's take another call.
Good morning, Andrea.
Good Good morning, Jim and Jeff.
How are you?
And then we also had another person who's much smarter than us. That would be New York City's Mayor Bloomberg.
That's right.
Yeah. Aren't we fortunate to have such a smart guy?
Almost makes me want to move to New York.
Mm-hmm.
Almost.
Well, I think he went like a 16.9-ounce glass of vodka, and why there are not enough shelters for the homeless. The mayor actually said this: we have many people flying in on Lear jets, and instead of getting a hotel room, they go right to the shelters to stay for free.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty opulent.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure that happens all the time. Yeah. That's probably
the Drats, they found this out because my husband and I do have a Learjet.
Mm-hmm.
It cruises at an altitude of usually 44,000 feet.
Excellent.
And we have two pilots on call 7 days a week, 24 hours a day.
Well, that way you
so
can be nice and high above the
riff on the green for dinner, and we stroll through the park and kind of get karate chop and, people trying to, scam, change off us.
Sure.
And then we just walk. We go to the local homeless shelter.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, why go to the Marriott Marquis?
Right.
We can stay somewhere, where we can fall asleep and get our $350 sneakers stolen.
Right.
I don't blame you one bit, Andrea.
Good idea.
And here's the sad thing is because I wanted to invite you and your listening audience, not on our Learjet, because we also have one of those big opulent, tour buses, like a rock and roll band have. And I was going to invite you and your whole audience for a tour of the White House today. But unfortunately, they don't have enough money to pay the volunteers.
Well, no,
to let us into our White House. I meant well. The thought was there.
It was.
But when we do go back up to New York, the two of you and your wife and children are certainly allowed to fly on our Learjet, but you can't stay at the Marriott Marquis with us. You've got to go to the shelter.
That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, we can do that.
Thanks a lot. Enjoy your weekend.
Thank you, Andrea.
And the other great thing that Bloomberg, I mean, I don't know if you heard this, but apparently he was asked about the government and having money, and he basically said, "Oh, well, the government has plenty of money.
Oh, yeah,
because we'll just borrow it." From all the other countries, so we'll never run out of money.
Right.
Wow, that's great, Mayor Bloomberg.
Yeah,
Thanks for your advice there.
Yeah. Boy, let's hope he never gets beyond that position.
Well, if he does,
title.
then people are certifiably insane.
Yeah.
Certifiably insane.
Yeah.
But we're wacko birds today because we also want to talk about the filibuster this week. Now, let me just say about the filibuster, I thought it was great. Now, am I naive enough to believe that some sort of constitutional upholding was achieved due to the filibuster?
Well, did we really think that the goal of the filibuster was to prevent what's his name from being nominated?
Of course it
wasn't.
It wasn't. It was a done deal before that filibuster even happened.
Absolutely.
And it was a done deal after it. But the simple fact is that for almost 13 hours, the topic of constitutional liberty was discussed.
Right.
And people listened.
Yeah.
And that's encouraging.
Yeah, and it's important to get the discussion started.
and that's
to keep
what he
it
did.
going.
And that's what he did. And I'm glad to see these infighting happening with the wacko bird comments and all that stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Boy, wacko bird. I mean, come on. If anybody's a wacko bird, it's John McCain.
Yeah.
Let's be clear about that.
Yeah, there's a hole in the ground in Vietnam calling his name.
There is. There is.
Oh.
Yeah. He's got all kinds of probably voices floating around.
When we wacko birds talk, you know what he hears?
What?
Yeah,
I think you're right. And Senator Feinstein said that any military veteran shouldn't be allowed to have guns.
Right.
Because they're
John McCain.
She said they're mentally unstable.
Yeah.
Now there's one military veteran who I probably would agree with.
Right.
And he's a senator.
Yeah. And let's see. Maybe he should just hand his guns over to Feinstein.
Yeah. Maybe he should
say, here you are, honey. You're right. Here you go.
Right.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. So let's before we get into the filibuster, I just want to say one more thing on the whole Man on the Street interview.
Yeah. And
we touched on it, and that's money. Money is the root of these problems, and it really is.
Yeah.
And we see it in the broken promises of our government. We see it in the erosion of our freedoms. You look at the Social Security number. The Social Security number, they said when it was enacted, it's not going to be used for identification. It's just an account number. It's for an account number so for your little piggy bank here that you're contributing to. What a lie.
Yeah.
Social Security number is used for identification purposes.
All the time.
All the time. It's constant.
Yeah.
Let's look at the federal income tax withholding. What did it start at? Some real little, 2% or something?
I believe.
It's only 2 cents, just like we were just saying with Carl. Oh, it's 2 cents. It's only 2 cents. Well, what is it now? 35, 50 cents? That's a lot of money.
More?
Yeah, and it continues. NDAA, giving up our freedoms, it continues across the board. And it starts locally.
It does
It starts locally when the federal government comes in and offers us
grants,
subsidies. You should have a SWAT team.
Tanks.
Oh, you should have an armored vehicle.
Yeah.
Oh, you should have this wetlands project. Oh, you should have this for open space.
And
they give you money. If you do this and this, you set up these programs, we're going to give you money.
Yeah.
We'll give you money for free.
And stuff. So, listen, if the federal government is giving these local towns and counties things like military-style assault weapons and gear and armored vehicles and drones, don't tell me that they'll never be used.
Right.
Right?
So the point is, from a local government standpoint, if you're involved in local government and someone comes offering money,
your first response should be no.
Your first response should be no.
And
be very suspicious.
And I know that goes counter to all you politicians out there who are listening, or probably not listening because they probably despise us. But all you politicians out there, every time you accept one of these deals, you're selling your constituents' souls down the river, and you should be ashamed of yourselves.
Right, you're misleading us, and it's not right. We're going the wrong direction. Let's take a phone call. Harriet? Good morning, Harriet.
Yes, good morning. I consider all these new laws and the rules and regulations as a creeping disease that started in New York and coming across the border to New Jersey and Pennsylvania. Better watch out.
Yep.
And it came across from Connecticut, I would say, into New York. And every time somebody does something that's wrong, we need a law.
Right.
No, we don't need a law. We have enough laws.
Absolutely.
We have enough gun laws. It was very unfortunate what happened in Connecticut.
Without a doubt.
But that doesn't mean you come into everybody's house and everybody's bedroom and everybody's kitchen. In Washington, they're in our kitchens.
Yep. Yeah.
They're into feeding our children.
Right.
Well, guess what? If you want to feed my kid vegetables, you give me money every week, and I'll go buy those vegetables. And I'll throw them away because it didn't cost me anything.
Right.
But if my kid don't like vegetables, there's nothing I can do.
Right.
Children discover vegetables when they're older.
That's correct.
Right.
Yeah.
My mother once a week she served liver. And she tortured me on that night.
I know.
You with a lot of other kids.
So the liver's gone. Then, when I got married, I did, and my husband liked liver, and I made it. I discovered, this ain't so bad.
Yeah.
But I would dread it.
Yeah.
I would absolutely dread it.
Right.
Yep.
You're absolutely right, Harry. And you're right. It's a creeping, festering disease. It's called incrementalism.
It certainly is, and I don't understand the voting public.
Well, and what's scary about it, Harriet, is it's all by design. It doesn't happen by accident.
Absolutely, it's socialistic. I mean, it's worse than socialistic.
Yeah,
we're past being a socialist.
We are absolutely
we are now
past
communistic.
Absolutely, you're right. You're right. Thank you very much for your call, Harriet. We appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening.
What a great point Harriet made. You know, she's absolutely right. We are Americans, right? Born of rugged individualism.
Right.
The guy on that video said, well, you know, not in every case.
Right.
No, you're wrong.
Yeah.
For every case, we are born free as Americans.
Right.
Or at least we're supposed to be.
Right.
We're led to believe it in spite of the fact that all these laws are thrown at us, like Harriet said. And that's the real problem. When you have a people that believes itself free, they're easy to control.
That's right.
That's where we're at. Let's take another call from Al in Atlantic City. Good morning, Al.
Yes. Good morning. I always enjoy your show.
Oh, thank you.
I just want to make a point. The scripture that you quoted, the love of money. It's not money. It's the love of money that is the root of all evil. And the reason being, in God's infinite wisdom, He tells you the love of money. By loving money, you actually take love away from other things. You take love away from your fellow man. You take love away from God, and you replace those things with money. And that's exactly what's happening in this world.
And
you expect government to be a charity. You figure, well, I don't have to donate or be charitable because the government will take care of it. The government's not a charity. And therefore, if you have compassion and you have love in your heart, you're going to see somebody that needs something, and you'll do something for them. You don't expect the government to do something for them.
Of course not. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Al. But what better way for a government to get control the people than through the use of money? Because they realize that that's our weakness. So the government actually builds itself to encourage and manufacture the love of money through media, through television, through magazine ads, all this, so that we have to work for more money to feed not only our desires, but also the government's desires.
Well, and to distract us from what you said, to distract us from the love of each other and from the love of God.
Right.
And that's exactly what it does.
Yep.
That's one of the reasons why gambling is becoming so popular pervasive throughout all the states, because it's based on the love of money.
Yep. You're very right, Al. Thank you very much.
Thank you for calling, Al. Have a nice weekend.
God bless.
And that is so true, and it's you know, we as Americans, we've had it good for a long time, and you know, I'm afraid we probably have lost our way in those principles that Al talked about: love of our fellow man and love of God,
right? In
pursuit of the love of money.
Yeah, but what better way that for to enslave a people than to make that money not only a love but a need? I mean, in New Jersey, you just wake up in the morning and you're taxed.
Yeah.
Right? You have to pay your property taxes.
Well,
you got to pay your this tax and that tax this fee and that fee.
I
just for opening your eyes in the morning, people.
I just saw a study in, I think it was the Wall Street Journal. Did you see that, where they ranked the states?
I did.
In tax.
Yes.
Now it was not including federal tax. It was only attributed to the states.
Yes.
And I think New Jersey came in at number 3 or number 4.
Okay.
So, you know, we're right up there. I think it came in over 12%.
Yeah.
12.4%. It sticks in my mind as the exact number.
Yeah.
The median number in the United States for a state was 9.9%.
Right. But it's a lot higher than that.
Oh, yeah.
Because listen, listeners, every time you pay for something, you're paying a tax. And I don't mean a sales tax.
Right.
I mean, if you buy a can of peas, there's all kinds of burdensome regulations and fees that were involved in making that can of peas available for you to purchase at that moment in time.
Right.
And it's all built into the price.
Right.
So the joke is on us.
Oh, yeah. And that can of peas has been taxed all the way up the line.
Oh, yeah, all the way up the stream.
All the way up the stream,
yeah. And the end user, the end consumer, is the one who pays it.
Right.
And it's just a way. It's brilliant on behalf of the Federal Reserve and the government.
Right.
It's absolutely brilliant.
Yep, definitely. So let's go to the filibuster. Let's get some wacko bird going on here. Let's start off with Rand Paul, little segment here. Go ahead, Scott.
Or has America the Beautiful become Alice's Wonderland? No, no, said the Queen. Sentence first, verdict afterwards. Stuff and nonsense, Alice said loudly. The idea of having the sentence first? Hold your tongue, said the Queen, turning purple. I won't, said Alice. Release the drones, said the Queen, as she shouted at the top of her voice. Lewis Carroll is fiction, right? When I asked the President, can you kill an American on American soil, it should have been an easy answer. It's an easy question. It should have been a resounding and unequivocal no. The President's response? He hasn't killed anyone yet.
Wow.
We're supposed to be comforted by that.
Yeah.
The President says, I haven't killed anyone yet. He goes on to say, and I have no intention of killing Americans.
You can stop it there, Scott. Oh, that's good.
Oh, wow. That
he
makes
hasn't
me
killed
feel,
anyone yet,
that makes
and he doesn't intend on killing anybody.
Yeah. So what's the unwritten statement by saying that? Right?
Well,
the unmentioned statement is, well, I haven't killed anyone yet, but I could if I wanted to, right?
Sure. And I don't intend to kill anybody
today,
but I will if I have to.
Right?
If I decide that I have to, well, then I'm the head honcho here, right?
Yep. But that part from Alice in Wonderland, sentence first.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Isn't that where we are? Mm-hmm. I'll never forget. You and I went to an appointment.
Yeah,
right?
I know what you're going to say.
And we were running a little early.
It was in Vineland.
And just so people know, Jeff and I are like almost always early. We hate being late. So we'd much rather be 15 minutes early to an appointment than to be late. Well, the thing is, if you have an appointment set for 4 o'clock,
you don't want us showing up early
at 3:45. So we usually pull down a street or something. Yeah. We'll check our email, whatever.
Right.
So we were in Vineland, I believe it was. We pulled down a street, nice little neighborhood.
Yeah, new development, little.
Yeah, and we're minding our own business, and this guy comes up to our truck and starts grilling us about what we're doing and all this stuff. Now he was home from work and he was a policeman. Well, I didn't take kindly to it.
Right.
I said, we're sitting here minding our own business. I suggest you do the same. Well, he didn't like that too much.
No.
But listen, people, these are the kinds of things that we got to watch out for. Right? A guy sitting in his truck isn't hurting anybody. Do you want to keep an eye on them? Well, of course, right? You don't want to see a person then get out of the truck and go break a window in a house and just ignore it.
Yeah.
But if somebody's sitting there minding their own business, we don't mind our own business anymore.
No. We're too worried about what our neighbor has, right? Coveting what they have. Yeah. We're too worried about what our neighbor is doing and whether or not we like it.
Right.
And we end up where we're at.
Yeah. So it all starts with the sentence first. It applies all the way down to a local level. It really does.
That way of thinking.
Way of thinking. And we got to be careful of it. And we got to push
we're being
back.
Conditioned.
We sure are.
We're being conditioned. You look at the TSA lines at the airports. You're guilty by showing up to fly.
Yeah.
You have to be searched.
You have to prove that you have nothing to hide.
You have to prove that you're not breaking a crime.
Right.
That's wrong.
Breaking a crime? Never heard
breaking
that.
A crime.
Breaking
Did
a
I
crime?
say that?
That's new.
Breaking.
I like that.
Committing a law?
Committing a law? abiding law citizen.
Yeah. But you see what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Don't give me a hard time here. All right, we have a phone call. Let's see, I talk to Tony. Good morning, Tony.
How you doing, boys?
Good. How are you?
In Jim Whalen's case, it's committing a law.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Listen, you guys didn't mention it the front page of today's press. I want to thank Mike Merlino and Commander Butler there. They're putting together a concert to honor the Vietnam vets over at Bader Field.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
If Al Garrett's still listening, that was his original idea for that parade and all that to honor the vets, but the bobblehead stole that. We all know who that is. The human bobblehead, he stole that idea from Al Garrett.
That's good. Yeah, he won't get any credit.
No,
he won't get. It'll be somebody else's idea. They'll try and steal that away. But, they had that posh dinner there that Obama
Oh, yeah. John McCain.
Now, here's the thing. I had heard a rumor. I got a friend there. He's got a pretty good grapevine there, and he told me that Obama didn't have enough cash on him, so he was going to use food stamps to pay for the dinner.
Makes
and
sense.
I felt so sorry for our wonderful congressman and all that, and the president. I had won a wing party on Champ's show. So I sent that to the White House. He used that to pay. They all had chicken wings.
You're always doing your part for the.
I'm trying to do my part, to try and settle the government problem. So I pitched in and did my share. I sent the wing party certificate to the White House.
Because goodness knows what we need is compromise and bipartisanship.
Bipartisanship.
Go along to get along.
Yeah.
I never met a bipartisan I didn't like.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. Isn't that some kind of a sexual term? You're bipartisan?
I think so.
I think it is.
Didn't they just pass a law that you're not allowed to, wasn't that part of the Violence Against Women Act?
Yeah, I thought they weren't allowed to marry.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I was watching, you always like to see what the enemy's up to. I was watching PMS LSD last night for a little while, and the woman host, and we'll use that very loosely there. I just call her the roller derby queen, if you know who I'm talking about. And you should have seen the train wreck she had on that show she was talking about birth control and all that. Let me tell you something, gentlemen. Her or any of her guests never have to worry about getting pregnant.
Right. They got some built-in birth control.
All right, Tony.
They'll never have to worry about it. I don't know whether you guys saw it last night, but Sean Hannity had an excellent show all hour long about Benghazi, about what really happened.
Wow. We'll have to see if we can find that. We could probably find that on YouTube.
You can find it. You can watch the whole show. It was an excellent show.
Yeah.
Help was a little bit more than an hour away. All them guys could have been saved.
Right. I believe it.
All them guys.
Yeah.
And I'll leave you with this. Hannity brought up a very good point on that show last night. Isn't it amazing? When 9/11 happened, they wrote down everything that President Bush and Vice President Cheney did, every second of what happened. But yet, still to this day, we don't know what Obama was doing. Where was he at?
That's a good question.
What was he doing?
He was probably preparing a nice meal for the GOP.
He hasn't taken any trips lately, do you notice? Because that sequester affected the grounds crew and the maintenance guys on Air Force One, so they can't keep the plane up there.
I'm sure.
And I feel sorry for them poor little kids. I mean, they had to get rid of the White House janitor. That's why they had to shut down. He couldn't mop the floors and shampoo the rugs and all that, and put a fresh mint in the urinal. They had to get rid of the poor guy. So,
I bet he makes
so hopefully, they'll hire the guy back and the kids will be able to take a tour,
don't worry, Tony. The government to the rescue.
Oh, absolutely. Hey, listen, I got them shopping bags and plastic shopping bags. I'll get Carl to bring me over to the studio one day. I'll drop them off after you guys do the show next week, maybe.
Perfect.
Right. That's entrepreneurism at its best there, Tony.
I'll save you some money there.
Yeah, we appreciate it. All right, Tony, you have a good weekend.
All right, you have a good one. Talk to you next week, guys.
Thank you.
So long. Yeah, the bipartisan effort this week.
I think you'll love that. Let's go to the next clip from Rand Paul.
Killing Americans to be that we thought you were bad, we thought you were coming from a meeting with bad people, and you were in a line of traffic, and so therefore you were fined for the killing? That is the standard we're using overseas. Is that the standard we're going to use here?
There you go. That's good.
Yeah. And
is that the standard?
Well, and we shouldn't even be using that standard overseas.
No, of course not.
See, that's one thing that people are ignoring. Well, some of these talking heads are saying, well, he didn't achieve anything by doing the filibuster. Well, yes, he did.
Yeah.
He's pointing out the inconsistencies of a nation that's supposed to be for freedom and liberty.
Right, and due process, right?
Right.
You're supposed to have due process.
Yeah.
And the fact that you're associated with someone or some place or something means you deserve to die without trial, without being able to face your accusers, just because somebody doesn't like who you're hanging with or who you're talking to.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we're at, and it can happen here.
And it can happen at
Don't
that level.
believe that it can.
It can happen at a local level as well.
Right.
SWAT teams misraid incorrect houses all the time in this country.
Right, and are not held accountable.
And that's awful. And we need to start holding these people accountable.
Absolutely. Let's go to the next clip.
When Brennan, whose nomination I'm posing today, was asked directly, is there any limit to your killing? Is there any geographic limitation to your drone strike program? Brennan responded and said no. There is no limitation. So the obvious question would be, if there's no limitation to whom you can kill and where you can kill, and there's no due process upon whom you will kill, does that mean you will do it in America?
There you go.
Yeah, that's the question.
That's a great question.
And the CIA,
and we supposedly got an answer. Right?
Yeah, supposedly. Yeah. And the CIA is held up as this great freedom-fighting organization. You know what? The CIA is bad news, listeners.
It's not Al-Qaeda. It's Al-CIA.
Al-CIA, duh.
Right.
You know, look at things like the drug war and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
All these drugs are brought in by the CIA, people.
Mm-hmm.
The CIA's behind all this stuff. The CIA helped put Osama bin Laden in power.
Right.
In Afghanistan.
In the first place.
To fight the Russians.
And the same thing with the Iranians. And the same thing with Venezuela. Hugo Chavez. It's all the CIA.
Is there any doubt that the CIA is in Venezuela right this minute?
They've been in Venezuela.
Oh yeah, how do you? Yeah,
right.
Definitely.
They've been in Venezuela. They're in Cuba. They have control of all these situations.
And what they do is they're the ones who are the mercenaries for the people calling the shots. Who isn't President Obama?
No.
It's above that. It's bigger than him. He is. Right. They're
probably a Rockefeller.
Probably a Rockefeller, yeah. And they're the ones who establish the new governments that they want. They establish the situation to cause instability. Right. It's all planned. It's all.
We've talked about it before. The CFR, the Council on Foreign Relations, that's who controls.
Thing.
Yeah,
there's CIA involved in that.
They knew what they were doing.
They absolutely knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. But, you know, the filibuster by Rand Paul, we have a couple more clips that we want to play. We're getting a little short on time, so let's run to the next one.
Let's go to the next one.
They separated the powers because there's a chance for abuse of power when power resides in one person. Montesquieu said that there can be no liberty when you combine the executive and the legislative. I would say something similar. There can be no liberty when you combine the executive and the judiciary. That's what we're doing here. We're allowing the president to be the accuser in secret, and we're allowing him to be the judge, and we're allowing him to be the jury. No man should have that power. We should fear that power.
Absolutely.
Not because we have to say, oh, we fear the current president. It has nothing to do with who the president is. It has nothing to do with whether you're a Republican or Democrat. It has to do with whether or not you fear the consolidation of power.
There you go.
Yeah.
Isn't that the truth?
And why do you think that right there shows you why Lindsey Graham and John McCain want to poo-poo what he said?
Right.
The reason why is because they want that power.
Right.
They
support
want that
it
power.
because, all right, yeah. Do they not like Barack Obama? Sure. Okay. They don't like it. They disagree, right? The Republicans and the Democrats, they disagree.
Right.
What do they disagree on? They disagree on the path.
Right.
They disagree on the path of how they're going to get to the end point.
Right.
Which is basically communism.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
They just disagree on how they're going to get there.
Right.
The end point is the same.
Yeah. That's why they poo-poo it, because they want that power.
Sure they do. They love to be in that position. They're just mad that they're not.
Yeah.
But that's why they support it.
Right.
Because they want to be the guys in control.
Mm-hmm.
And they know, over the course of time, Barack Obama's not going to be president forever, is he?
No.
So does that mean that they have an opportunity to get their finger on that joystick for that drone?
That's what they think, except for this meddling.
And you know, boys with their toys, right?
Yeah.
They're going to dying to try them suckers out.
Yeah, and they would have gotten away with it, too, if it wasn't for them darn kids.
Yeah. Right, exactly.
So let's hear what...
let's hear the response. First we have Lindsey Graham, right?
The drone program he has utilized overseas, I think, has made us safer. This idea that we're going to use a drone to attack an American citizen in a cafe in America is ridiculous. And I think the American people need to understand the threat we face.
There we go, Lindsey.
Thanks, Lindsey.
So,
see, we're just
wait,
too stupid.
Americans, wait. Don't forget about the boogeyman.
Hey.
He's going to get you.
In the coffee shop.
He's going to get you. The boogeyman, the Al-Qaeda terrorist.
Oh, right.
If we don't have these drones, the boogeymen are going to come over here, and they're going to tear out your guts and eat them right in front of your face.
Oh, that's gross.
Well, that's what Lindsey Graham is saying.
Right.
You know, it's all about the boogeyman.
So this whole discussion... the drones are for our own good.
Yeah, they're keeping us safe. They're spreading freedom throughout the world.
Right. Let's face it, everybody wants to be like us.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Definitely. What better way to make them like us than to kill them with drones?
Right. They hate us because we're free.
Right. Yeah, let's see what Senator McCain had to say.
Say that we would hit them in a cafe with a Hellfire missile. First of all, there are no drones with Hellfire missiles anywhere near. They're over in places like Yemen and Afghanistan and other places in the world.
So says you.
Yeah.
So we've done I think, a disservice to a lot of Americans by making them believe that somehow they're in danger from their government. They're not. But we are in danger. We are in danger from a dedicated, long-standing, easily replaceable leadership enemy that is hell-bent on our destruction.
All right,
there he goes. There he goes again with the boogeyman, right?
Yeah.
The boogeyman's going to get you. It's not us. No, we're looking out for you.
Government.
Yeah, we love you. We love you, American citizens.
No, just keep working and paying your taxes.
Yeah, we would never, ever. The drones aren't here. Well, except for the fact... You and I have actually seen the drones with our own
We have.
four
We
eyes.
saw them over, our one of our favorite places to go when we're down here is the Taco Bell over there
right near the expressway.
The expressway there.
We can't resist.
Off of 40.
Now, listen, I know about the horse meat and all that.
You know what?
I love Taco Bell.
Right.
I don't care if they put chopped up whatever in there. I love the Taco Bell.
It's great.
It's delicious.
Great.
So
when we leave this area, we go down, we turn right there on that road. I'm not even sure what road it is, but I think it connects to the FAA Tech Center. And there we are. We're driving down that road, approaching the on-ramp to the expressway.
Yep.
And there, just on the horizon ahead of us, 2 drones went by.
Now, one went by.
And I saw it. I was like, did I just...
too.
And then we saw the second one.
No, wait. We didn't say nothing.
No.
Right? You didn't say anything. I didn't say anything.
Yeah.
Then we saw the other one, and I said, did I just see 2 drones fly by? We sure did.
We absolutely did. Two of them right in our backyard.
In our backyard.
So they are here, guys. They are here in our backyard. Yeah. And so that gets to what we talked about earlier. You know that they're for some local government, and we can guess which one.
Well, of course.
And let's face it, there's a major city right in the area here, right?
Right, yeah.
So I'm sure they, would
some sort of deal where
do a deal to get these things,
right?
Yeah, in the name of safety.
In the name of safety, and keeping us, from the bad guys,
right?
And, so they're here,
right?
And there's lots of towns that have them. Right?
Yeah.
So the question is okay, John McCain just said that they're not here. Well, apparently they are here, John.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they can be used.
Sure they can.
It's really all, the only
just
question
a matter of time.
Is when will they be used?
Right.
Right. And here's how it'll play out. When eventually a drone attacks someone in America, it'll be trotted out as they saved us from some sort of terrorist plot.
And here's their Facebook.
And look, they were going to do all this
their
bad
emails
stuff
and all this stuff, and all of which you don't know. You can't trust this stuff. They can make it look like whatever they want it to look like.
Definitely. And the fact is the media, and I mean all media, Fox News, CNN, all the gamut, is all controlled by the same major corporations that are all controlled by the same major banks that are all controlled by the same major families.
Let me play this last clip